Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share, leave a like, comment below to know your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So yeah, was not able to do a Monday Night Raw review this week. I was out buying a new car when that was all going on, so did not get to catch it, watch it live. And then I watched it later, of course, and at that point I just thought it was too late to do a video. But I am able to do SmackDown. Typically, on the go-home shows, we don't do reviews for SmackDown because the PLE is the next day, and those viewership really struggle quite a bit. But since Clash in Paris is on a Sunday this year, I was like, you know what? We will do it. And I gotta say, this was overall... I mean, again, the crowd really does add a lot to the show. I mean, besides the normal criticisms that I have of it, like the women's division just needs a lot of work. Like, I really liked what we did with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. I kind of dig the setting of it too, where Tiffany's in the mirror, she's feeling herself, and Jade coming up and they're talking. I actually really like the dialogue between the two, and I like the realization that, oh, the lens that we were looking at was the mirror reflection. Again, I actually got a good kick out of that. We also cover movies here, and that was a good artistic choice to me. However, that segment should have been in the ring. Tiffany should have came out, did a promo. I'm happy to be here in Lyon. I wasn't cheered last time that we did this because I do believe it was a triple threat match. It was Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffany for that women's title. Now she has that title. I think there was an opportunity there to do so for this full circle moment here in Lyon. But, or was it in Puerto Rico? No, it was in Lyon. But yeah, I feel like there was an opportunity there. Jay could have came out saying, I'm now the number one contender. Still kind of on how we got to that point. But yeah, that is the right decision to make. It should be Jade as the number one contender. I would assume this match happens at WrestlePalooza, maybe on the SmackDown before WrestlePalooza. But yeah, as much as I enjoyed the segment and I enjoyed, the artistic integrity that they added to it with the whole mirror element within it, I still think, again, these girls need to be in front of the crowd. We need to hear the crowd reactions going. I just don't understand why it's resulted to backstage segments. We have done the most that we have probably ever done post-Chelsea Green reign with this United States title. But, Kiana James coming out, which I was really excited about. Kiana James can go in the ring if WWE is to ever actually give her the opportunity to do so. But we gave her the Giovanni Vinci treatment. Now, not necessarily, because with Giovanni, we all say, oh, he's going to be so great. We're giving him all these vignettes. And then, he lost very quickly, right? Here with Kiana, we never, on the main roster anyway, established her as a threat that she was really good. We just know she's really good at business acumen. But Kiana James is very talented, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. Look, if the women's match has to be the short match, because God forbid, but if it has to be, then give them at least 3 minutes. Let her go for a little bit before you just pull the rug from out of her completely, because now she's going to have a much longer climb to get up to even be relevant. Now, it's not her time currently, right? She is, the manager, if you will, for Julia. And I like the stuff that we did afterwards, but, beating her on the steps and all that. It's just, we got a lot of work to do when it comes to this women's U.S. title. And I think, honestly, as much of a fan I am of all three women, to be honest with you, Julia and Kiana James and Michin, I just think, we probably do need to get a Bayley over to Friday nights. And she needs to win that U.S. title, and therefore there can be a little bit more of a focus on it. I mean, that women's Intercontinental title, as much of a fan of Lyra Valkyria I was, if it wasn't for Becky Lynch, that women's IC title is not where it is right now. So I think we need to copy and paste it and do it over on SmackDown with, a Bayley or a Charlotte or an Alexa Bliss or an Asuka. I can go on and on and on. That's someone who is absolutely established that we can actually get some tread out of it. Again, I still think it's very easy to do with Julia, but I just don't think the audience is quite there with it. I mean, when you heard Kiana James come out, there was no reaction once or ever. Granted, it was Kiana's music and not Julia's music, but still, I think that is very telling, especially for a Leon crowd that legit will make noise for anything. And so just a lot of concerns on it, a lot of work to do when it came to our women's segments. Even the women's tag segment, which I think out of the 3 titles that are present on SmackDown, is the strongest. I think we can all agree with that. But, you promote this tag title match. It's like, okay, well, Piper Niven wasn't able to make it. So we wish her all the best. Hopefully she's not hurt and, something just got to happen with the flight. Either way, horrible situation. But out of the 2, that's the better one. Then, Chelsea Green is going to replace her without Alba Fire. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Then we come out and they do the jump attack. All right, cool. All for it. And then we cut back from commercial. And it's just Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green, no Charlotte to be found. And it's just like, what? Because multiple things. It is really very well established within canon. When you are a good guy, sure, Charlotte is not a consistent good guy. But, when you have a title and you get jumped before and the ref's like, you can't go, you're too hurt. That the babyface goes, no, I will fight through and defend my title. I will not let them get away with this. And then, therefore, we still have a tag match. In this case, no, you had to be taken to the back. And then, Alexa Bliss, granted, this was the first one, but also one with the surprise roll-up, which is how Michin beat Kiana James, is a little too many on there. I think the rule is only 1 per show, but we've been doing it a lot. We probably need to do once a month before we go back to using it once per a show. The match was fine for what it was, and I even like, Charlotte coming out to help to prove that they are truly friends, that Charlotte does care. I don't know if that was maybe the idea of it is that, Charlotte could have came out, but she didn't, but then she realized the error of her ways, and then she came out to come and help her friend, because she is actually her friend, and she's not as self-centered as she thinks. Which is why I do think, as we get later on, when the inevitable breakup happens, is that Alexa who needs to turn heel and not necessarily Charlotte. But yeah, overall good segments. We did put some effort in, but it's just, there's a lot more work that we can do, and I've seen them do a lot better as well. As for the men's stuff, it was a pretty all right. I like the Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton stuff because I really like what it means for the future later on, because I'm pretty sure we all agree Randy Orton's going to be the one to turn heel on Cody Rhodes. And, Drew's talking like, hey, when Cody was talking to you and when your back was hurt, he wasn't trying to be a friend. He was trying to gain intel so that he can get ahead of you. And then Orton's like, that's actually a really good point. And it's just like, okay, I really like that story element quite a bit. And then Orton attacks him with the RKO. I thought this match would happen at Clash in Paris. I thought we would do Drew versus Orton in Paris, and then you do Cody versus Drew at WrestlePalooza. Now I don't know if we're necessarily going to do that. I don't know if we're going to do a triple threat because you have to do Drew versus Cody. But Drew versus Orton also needs to happen too. So now do we have a triple threat? Does Drew and Orton become a number 1 contenders match on a SmackDown for our main event? Just to build more focus, to hopefully amp up these shows once we pass Paris. I'm kind of over trying to give WWE the benefit of the doubt as to why they're just kind of coasting through everything. Because one, the turn times for all these PLEs are just way too soon. I thought 3 weeks would be good because I looked, because someone said, well, in your old video, you just said 3 weeks was a good enough build. I no longer think that because I did look back on that video and sure enough, it was. I did say that. I do now think you have to have at least 4 weeks, minimum 4 weeks to really build a pay-per-view fully. And with these quick turnaround times, with Paris, it's almost like, well, we know the crowd's going to be crazy, so we don't really have to put that much effort into it. We just need to get there. And again, it's just how many times can I say that? Because I said that after Mania, like, okay, looks like Mania, they're using it more as a kickoff, as an ender. Fine, whatever. Then we get to Backlash. Oh, it's the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania. There's going to be a little bit of tread there. And then we get to the, well, whatever was next. And then so on and so forth. I just kept having excuses for them. Now we're past SummerSlam. Paris is here. And now we're like, okay, well, it's Paris. We know the crowd's going to be great. So why even try? If it doesn't pick up after Paris, then, there is a serious conversation to be had on what WWE is doing with their just coasting by it. Now, they've had a good 3-year long reign of great, consistent, quality television, so it's almost unfair to be like, keep doing it. But, you know, that is the standard that they built. The new WWE post-Vince, all they had to do was just be better, and they did. Now, that standard, when they went up, is now back down here. Now they have to try to find how to top it over there, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, the Orton and Drew stuff was good. Cena and Logan, I actually really liked as well. Logan Paul, he's a very weird cat because, like, his promos are just so, like, robotic in a way. I don't want to say AI, because that's, like, almost very, very harshful, although I wouldn't be surprised if he does use AI. But, you know, it just seems very robotic, and it doesn't seem natural whatsoever, which is almost kind of the point with him. And then Cena comes out, absolutely kills the dude, finds that kid, good segment. And I think SmackDown kind of peaked at the beginning of it with John Cena. I'm looking forward to the match. And then, of course, Sami Zayn beating Solo Sikoa for the U.S. title. Wasn't expecting it, but Leon deserved that. And now, and you know, again, we need these types of things to happen where, you know, it keeps us on our toes. Because, yeah, I think we all thought Solo Sikoa was going to win. The MFTs are going to get involved, whatever. And then we'll go back to Solo versus Jacob, right? That wasn't the case here. And Sami was able to overcome the odds, and, you know, he wins that U.S. title. Now we can get that U.S. title out of the Bloodline MFT vortex. Jacob and Solo can go over there. Maybe they can be the number one contender for it, while Sami faces some other comers, like a Carmelo Hayes, not that he lost, against the Street Profits, which I wasn't expecting. I really thought Melo Don't Miz would win. And then I really like what we did with Bo Dallas as well, coming around talking like, are y'all really brothers? When y'all come to find out, when y'all lose, or y'all really in the trenches. So now in Clash in Paris, we're doing this match on the card, which now we have 6 matches, which is good. We need to have tag titles on the PLE. So WrestlePalooza, if you want to do the World Tag Title match, fine. Just find some god-dang contenders. But yeah, if the Y6 are to win, which is what I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the Y6 winning. Does Montez turn on Angelo? Because if you look at it, bro was speaking as if he was talking to both of them, but the eye contact was between him and Montez Ford. So I think that's something that we have to look out for. But yeah, overall, fine episode of SmackDown. It wasn't bad. Look, when it comes to the interferences and all that, because there was quite a bit of that throughout this whole entire show, I have made my case known. Matches to me don't really matter that much anymore unless they're for a title, because now I just know to sit here for a little bit and then wait until someone gets involved. I'm like, okay, well, now I need to start paying attention because the match is about to end. Like, that's just how it's programmed to me now. I can no longer get fully invested when it's just the two fighting until the other people start getting involved, because then I know, okay, well, now I know we're about to wrap it up, so it's not just noise up until then. But leave a like on this video if you made this far within the review. I do greatly appreciate it. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode of SmackDown. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give it your all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Living Studios.